Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to #Got Money. I'm Elizabeth Jackson. I'm here with Alexandra Stewart Robinson from Gallery Homes. Gallery Homes they're a pretty phenomenal builder, really. They do all of our builds for our clients down the east coast of Australia. And what Alexandra and I have noticed is a lot of people are buying homes madly, and they're buying homes and they're really not certain about the build contract. And the build contract's a big deal, isn't it, Alexandra?
Certainly is, and it's certainly an area that a lot of clients can get stuck if they don't know what they're getting involved with.
So I've invited Alexandra onto the show so we can talk about what to look out for when you're purchasing a home, where to start. We use Gallery Homes on purpose, and I want to preface that with why we use Gallery Homes on purpose. They do a fixed price, full turnkey property. We've gone throughout the market and we've gone, you know what, we want to work with these guys. Let's talk about, because our main frame, as you know, we're doing a lot of work with first-time home buyers. So they know where they want to live. I'm with you. BC, get your borrowing capacity and do not go up. Do not go right up to that full borrowing capacity because you're really going to hurt yourself. Okay, so you found your land, you've got your build contract. What happens then?
Yeah. So one of the things you need to be really conscious of is when you're actually looking at the package that's being provided to you from the builder, is it fixed price and full turnkey? What you actually need to understand is that some builders will actually say, oh yeah, it's fixed price with a disclaimer, unless we hit rock, unless your slab is a different classification. Oh, did you want a dishwasher? We don't provide external landscaping. We only do the landscaping at the front to meet the design covenant.
Alexandra and I are doing this show on purpose because there is a lot of people out there getting stung in this particular market. I heard somebody had to move a tree and it cost them $12,000. We had a really lovely Kiwi family come to us from Queensland who had gone into a local Queensland builder, had not been told everything and had all of these additional costs. Now, look, if you don't make the additional costs with some of these builders, they are within their right to shut down the contract and take your deposit.
Correct. So and this is where people need to understand, there are obligations on both parties in the contract. So if you have not understood that there are additional costs that may come up, and that's the thing that you've got to be really conscious of, is that a lot of builders want the deal, right? So they're not going to say to you, oh, there's a good chance of this coming up. They're going to say to you, oh, it's highly unlikely that it's going to come up. But you've got to be in the position to have cash sitting in your account. And what I'm finding with most of the clients that we're dealing with, and some of them being yours too, Elizabeth, is that $5,000 that's still sitting in their account is to actually furnish the property when they move in.
Yes, yeah, so make or break money.
Exactly. You know, that's the buffer, right? That's the buffer that allows you to pay your first 2 or 3 mortgage repayments. And especially at this time of year when people are coming into Christmas and it's been such a strange year, to see people getting caught out and needing to put additional cash into the build, it's just disappointing. And part of the way it's happened is that they've gone into a display home, they've fallen in love, they're dealing with a salesperson who doesn't advise on the contract. Potentially has gone back and said, oh, you don't even need your conveyancer to look at the build contract. It's in plain English and you can read it yourself. And then there are, you know, in terms of the contracts that we give, there's one key clause in that which clearly states it all, which is regardless of what is found on site, the contract price remains unchanged and is completely fixed and is full turnkey. So this is where our team, so we have a full team of draft team. So when we're looking at a particular land lot in a particular estate, we're looking at the survey plans, we're looking at the design covenants, we're looking at the engineering, we're looking out for, you know, bushfire reports, we're looking out for acoustic reports so that we can actually get a proper sense of what's actually involved. And so when we provide a package, the house has been cited, the preferred floor plan has been cited to the particular lot that we're looking at. And I mean, Liz, we've even had this with one of your clients that was looking to move into their first home up on the northern side of Brisbane, where, you know, the land was selling so fast that we've had to get them to secure a block of land, but we did not get them to confirm until our team had gathered all the appropriate documentation for that exact block and had sited the house. Even though we had prepared packages for 2 other lots in the same estate, something like a bushfire overlay may only apply to a number of lots within an estate. So there could be 50 lots in an estate and there could be 5 that have got a bushfire overlay. If that has not been captured, that can be anywhere from a few $1,000s up to $10,000.
And if you don't go with a fixed price full turnkey property, that will be a cost that goes on you as the purchaser.
Correct. And if you've already got your mortgage in place, that's not coming out of the funds that you've secured for the property. That is coming out of your personal bank account.
Okay, so let's talk about the HIA contract. So
yes,
not every builder uses a HIA contract either, do they?
They don't, but a lot of the builders do use it, and it is an industry prepared and issued contract. But what somebody needs to be really mindful of with this HIA contract, it has been designed to kind of create a fair line between obligations and responsibilities on the builder as well as on the purchaser. So we often have it where a client wants to increase penalties on the builder. No problems. We're happy to agree to that. Be mindful though, it also has implications on the penalties that will apply to the purchaser if they, for instance, don't sign off on their drawdown claims in a timely manner and get it through to their bank.
When you get a HIA contract, what do you first look at? What do you first start with? How do you know that you're going to be protected before we go into the body of the, you know, the penalties and all the rest of it?
Yeah, so front page of the contract should list the price of your property. And then in a little box below that, you will see fixed cost, and you should expect to see the total cost of your build contract repeated there. So for instance, let's work off that the build contract is worth $300,000. So you would expect to see X GST, inclusive of GST, total price $300,000. One row below that, you will see another line that says fixed cost, and you want to see the full contract price. You want to see $300,000 put into that place.
There's another part in the contract which is called provisional sums. Now, what does that provisional sum stand for? What's all that about?
So that is allowances for a non-fixed cost. So that might be allowing for provisional funds for slab classification or finding rock, or like what you've already experienced with your client, where there's been obviously some sort of environmental impact on that lot and they've had to have a tree removed. So sometimes what you'll find is that while we say this is fixed, others say we've allowed for a provisional sum to be assigned to this. So it could be 20,000, and then guess what? It comes in at 25. You're responsible for the other 5.
Ah, okay. So when we look at a HIA contract with Gallery Homes, that's actually blank. So we know that there's no provisional sum left in. That's actually a good indication, isn't it? That you're in the realm called fixed price full turnkey package. Yeah.
So the reality is with us, if our team has made a mistake, if we have missed something when we've been preparing the package, it's on us.
Isn't that nice?
Well, look,
sorry.
And that's something that our team's conscious of. Yeah, but I mean, that is our point of difference in the marketplace. I get it all the time that someone will send me a package and they'll say, this is from another builder and this seems cheaper than your packages. And I'll often go back to them and just say, ask them whether that is fixed cost and full turnkey. And then they'll often come back and go, oh, the builder's pretty confident that it will be. I'm like, mate, the difference between confident and telling you 100% in full assurity and clarity that it's fixed is not the same thing.
Exactly right. And you know what? You do
Being
not want...
confident of winning and being a winner are two different things.
Exactly right. Thank you. I knew you'd paraphrase that beautifully, and you did. Okay, so you've got the contract. You've got it. Also, the other things to look out for: master builder license. Check.
Yes, and so you can actually check that. So when you actually get a contract, you can actually go. So if you're dealing with a builder in Queensland, you can look up on the website their QBCC license number, and that will actually show you how long they've been in business, how many builds they do a year, and whether there are issues against their licenses.
I knew this was going to be fun.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realise that.
And that information's free. Like, it's just a Google search.
Yeah. And you should go. I always say to clients I always tell them who you are as a builder, and then I send them through your website and I tell them to check you out. I might Google them. Don't take my word for them. Yeah. Google them. Check them out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is a significant amount of money to be entrusting to somebody. So it's important to do your due diligence on who you're working with.
You do something else which is really unique in the market. You have an online portal which clients can actually go into. Unpack that a little bit for our listeners.
So part of it just comes down to, so Gallery's been around for 11 years, and really the way the business has been designed is to put information available to both advisors like yourself, Liz, or for the actual end property owner, that being either a first homeowner or an investor. And I suppose the benefit is that I own properties, most of our business own properties. So we actually understand, we've been through the process, we actually understand, I suppose, the touch points where the anxiety increases and the heart rate increases. And so what we designed was a portal. So once a deal goes unconditional, so what that means is you've chosen your block, we've packaged the best house on it for you that meets your needs, and that is full turnkey fixed cost. We've entered into, oh, bless you. Oh, bless you.
Okay.
Oh, bless you. You know what they say.
Three's a winner. Go back to that a little bit, because what we tend to do with you is, I always worry about clients that go get a block on their own and then try and find a builder. You don't want to do that. And let me explain to you why. A lot of people end up doing all their dough on the land, and then they come to me and they want a 4-bedroom house with a swimming pool. And it's like, but you've done all your dough on the land.
And you're like, a tent will have to suffice.
I'm sorry, but you're going to have a tent. We do a standard range of tents. Unfortunately, yours will be a 2-man tent. Do not do that. Do not go and get the land. And you know the other side of it too. When you're looking at land, you can get carried away with the size of the land and the beauty of the land. But what you don't realise is everything that Alexandra's just shared. So fire overlay, fall on the land. There might be issues in the land that you can't see that aren't evident, because there's a lot of stuff that happens in the land, under the land. You know, when you do a fixed price full turnkey property with gallery homes and public property, what you end up finding is that if they find Noah's Ark under that land, it's actually up to them to make it right. It's not up to you to make it right. So please don't. I mean, I know you're tempted. I know you want to go nuts and find the land, but please don't. Call us, and what we'll do.
Or if you're going to do it, make sure you've got all the information that's available.
Subject to a
and be realistic.
Review. Eh?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Look, we do have some clients that bring us a block of land that they have found, and they haven't read the design covenants. And so I've just had one recently where they actually found a really beautiful, very large block of land. And they were really excited. But again, they've spent a huge amount of money on the land. We're quite happy to go with quite a small house to fit on the block of land. But then we discovered there were design covenants on this block of land, which actually stated the minimum house size, which was well beyond their budget. And so now they've actually had to go.
That's the thing, isn't it? If it's too good to be true, it is.
Yes, and part of the problem is the design covenants exist, right, from the land vendor. But the land vendor provides the design covenant to the builder. So they actually don't care with the person who's, in some cases, when the person who's buying the block of land, they're like, well, the design covenant's for the builder. These guys don't have a builder yet, so I don't even have to tell them. There's no legal responsibility on me to tell them. Just making sure, guys, that you're aware that if you buy into this estate, you need to have a house that's at least 220 square metres and has a 15-metre frontage on it. And so these clients came to me with a budget where, yes, I could have got them a really lovely 3-bedroom home, but once we actually looked at the design covenants, it was like, guys,
had they gone unconditional?
You can't afford it.
Did they go unconditional?
They thankfully had not gone unconditional, and so we were actually able to go back, speak to the broker, and actually look at their borrowing capacity. And we were able to actually look at what else the land vendor had in the estate, and we were able to help them select a smaller block of land so that we could release some of their budget to go into the house. So they've ended up in the area they wanted to be in, but a house that they can afford on a block of land that allows them to be in the estate. And what some people have to realise is, gone are the days of your forever home, especially when you're a first home buyer. It's about getting your foot in the door, the first rung on the ladder. This is your first house, not necessarily your forever house.
I want you to go back and talk about your indicators.
Sorry, the what?
So your indicators, you've got a portal, and once you go unconditional on it, because you kind of left the reservation, and I watched you go. I did. I watched her go, and I thought she'll be back in a minute.
Well, you should just interrupt earlier.
It felt like a really solid leaving the reservation. You said to me, "I'm just going out for milk," and I went, "Okay, well, we're out of milk. Go." So let's go back to that key indicator stuff.
So one of the things that we realise is that you've gone through the finance, you've signed your contract, you've paid your deposits, and now I'm locked. I'm locked and loaded, and oh my gosh, what is happening with my bills? And anxiety levels start to increase. For most of our clients, if they're a first home buyer, this is the first experience they've ever had of building a home, and that no one actually really truly knows what the process is. So what we've done is create a portal. So as soon as the contract is unconditional, which means you've got your letter from the bank saying you're all approved, and you've waived your finance with your solicitors, and the contract and the property is now yours, or that the block of land is yours, and the promise of the build is yours. So you get a username and password, you get to log into this system, and you are going to see a list of steps that we have to take you from a block of land to a fully completed home. So we use a system called On-Site Companion. We're not the only builder in the country to do so, but we are one of the few that actually publishes some of those steps to the purchaser, so they can see at the click of a button 24/7 the exact status of their property. So we publish about 100 of those steps. What we really focus on is the pre-construction. So this is the deal's unconditional. You may not have yet settled on your block of land, but we as the builder already start working on your file. So we'll be ordering contour surveys, ordering soil reports, getting the reports that is needed for the frame, so that we can actually have everything ready to go to get your permit and to get us on site as soon after land settlement as we possibly can. But what we do is to try and share that information so that you're not sitting somewhere going, have they completely forgotten about me? Am I a priority?
You update it every week too, don't you? Is it weekly?
Every 15 minutes, the report.
Oh my God.
So photos, yes. So the portal is updating every 15 minutes. And so if the site supervisor ticks something off as, slab completed, within 15 minutes, you will see that reflected on the client portal. We have all the documentation for your build on here as well. So we used to put the primary documentation. Now we put everything.
These people know what they're doing. They're very successful in the marketplace. They understand how to build a really good quality home. Listen, if you want a budget home that will last 5 minutes, and not resell well, then please go to another builder, knock yourselves out. We use Gallery Homes.
And there's plenty of those builders in the market, so it shouldn't take you too much effort to find them.
Oh, this one 5 minutes down the road. I won't say anything else. Alexandra Stewart Robinson, thank you for joining us on Got Money.